Loved him.
Everybody loved him. Shout out to Eddie Guerrero, man. All right, now this person right here is steaming with controversy, but one might argue who isn't.
All right.
I've learned how to separate the content from the creator, the art from the artist, the policy from the politician, the preaching from the preacher. Because if we keep just trying to look for perfect people, we're going to get upset because the only one perfect is Jesus. And since you don't want him, since you always throwing him out and throwing him on our bus, his name offends you, you really don't want perfection. You want what makes you happy. So I got to say that this person influenced my childhood. Yes, I was disappointed with the racist rant, but he has apologized. He has given his life to the Lord. I saw the baptism video. I'm happy for him, and I pray that he really is changed and is changing and will do good. But there is no rock without this individual. If there's one wrestler who took wrestling beyond the ring, who made himself as big as the brand, if not bigger, who made Hollywood see this the production and see we have to tap into this talent pool. The first one to do it was Terry. Hulk Hogan, as wild as that sounds, has had many different.
It ain't even wild. It's just the truth. I hate this.
It's just it's the truth. He made me want to rip my t-shirts as a little kid. What's up? I'm super pumped. Just got done with another workout. It's your boy CVMK33. Connect me on Instagram and on the business page at CVMK_global. You know how I get through it. You know how I get that pump looked. Best pre-workout on the market. www.cvmkglobal.store. Happy New Year! Yo, we're back. This episode, this right here, cuz this is the top 10 greatest male wrestlers of all time, hence the Hulkamania shirt that I have on. We are going to create the definitive list of the top 10 greatest wrestlers of all time. So I got my man Steve-O back with us. Steve-O Speaks, because he is a historian. Let me talk to you about how I came to wrestling. As a boy, I was a boy. I wrestled. I played with action figures. I wanted to do power bombs. And, before church, we would see wrestling. Wrestling would come on Saturday mornings after cartoons. So you'd have the X-Men, you'd have all your Saturday morning cartoons, and then wrestling would appear. Then you'd have WCW Nitro. I think that was Monday, right? Then you had Tuesday. You also have Monday Night Raw, but then you had Tuesday while your, second tier wrestlers trying to make it to the first tier would come on. Then you would have Thursday. But then you night SmackDown and you'd have Thursday something else. But then you'd have Friday. It's like wrestling was an all-week event. And it left an impressionable stance on me. And we got to discuss, because you can't be a true sports fan and not like wrestling, because it is where the drama begins. After this break, we'll be back to discuss the top 10 male wrestlers of all time. You'll be shocked who didn't make the list. Steve, how you doing, man?
Yo.
We're back. This is episode 2.
Sure.
We're back. This is how we do it. Y'all, 2024 gonna be there. Gonna be there, yeah. Gonna be there, yeah. I would elaborate, but I don't know who watching. So, it's going to be the year. But we're going to start this year off with the episode. Wrestling is your first love. Before we begin, I want you to explain to the audience why wrestling was your first love.
Oh, I don't think I ever got asked this question. That's a good question. I don't know. I think everybody just was they always almost found it a certain way, but I think I have to give credence to my dad and my great grandfather, who that's what who introduced it to me. I remember one of my most vivid memories of being going down to Alabama to see my great grandfather was you always know what he was watching because if he's watching wrestling, you gonna hear get him, kick it. Kick it! You just know it's him, so you know he listened. You know he watching wrestling. So yeah, I started watching it. My grandmother also kind of watched it because he watched it. So then my father grew to watch it as he grew up. So I started watching it, and I actually fell in love with it to the point where I learned almost everything about it from the fan side part of it to the behind the scenes, how it worked, the history of it, how things work. Like I know the ins and outs of it, so that's why I love it. I used to go to bat for everybody because you know everybody goes to the whole thing when they finds out that it's quote unquote fake, and like everybody in that business hates that word, and the people that loves wrestling hates that word because we understand there's nothing fake about it. It's predetermined. Like, and the best thing we always put is fake. Well, it's not fake because it's predetermined. Nothing's fake going on. You don't go out. You didn't go watch the end games and be like, that was a fake movie. You
Right.
enjoyed the movie.
Hey,
Like it's a movie. Like
could never do that.
right. Like you just sat there and watched Spider-Man jump from building to building, but you finna sit here and call me fake because I seen the Undertaker fake crucify somebody. Like,
Yeah,
why you gonna get mad at that?
he was crucified. I mean, yeah, old Undertaker was wild. And that's a great lead way and a great segue into the number one wrestler of all time. When I made this list, I was a little perplexed because I didn't know who I wanted at number one. I've heard debates. I've heard names that should have been. I've heard possible GOATs. But this person, if we make a list, you have to, how do you establish a standard? Impact, culture, longevity. Just like the singers, right? Impact, culture, longevity. If there's one person in all of modern wrestling that has had the longevity, the impact, and the culture from a respect standpoint, it is Undertaker. Undertaker is the greatest wrestler of all time. And I don't care what anybody says. And you know what? He's not even my favorite. He's just the greatest, right? He's the first wrestler to grace a cover. I remember he's on a pinball machine and, walking a little tightrope. His identity has evolved probably more than any other wrestler. He was just the dead man that was burying people. Then he would come up and eyes roll back in the head. Then he was the keep rolling, 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 rolling. To me, that was the best version of Undertaker. The Limp Bizkit Undertaker was by far on another level because he was entertaining, right? Like you started to see more charismatic appeal. I mean, big boot. He was just with Taker was so cold that he didn't even have to show up. You could be in the middle of a promo and all you heard was dong. You hear that little tune, all right. They're like Taker. He would be that iconic that his sound, he had a sound, right? And I feel like if you don't have a sound, every great wrestler that I'm gonna list has a sound. If I can't recognize you by your sound, you weren't that great. That is why Undertaker is, other than all the WrestleManias and all those stuff, that's why he's my number one wrestler.
I am so proud that you said that. I'm so proud. Undertaker is my favorite, and by far, regardless if he wasn't my favorite, like you said, he's the greatest wrestler we have ever seen.
Yep.
And you gave nice bullet points, but in the wrestling world, we go by character, ring work, and ring psychology. That's how we go by it. Okay. And one thing about Undertaker is, for one, the character. Um, one thing about wrestling, you have to have a character. Without a character, it's not wrestling to me.
Right.
That's the whole purpose of it goes back to the whole history of wrestling, back to the carnivals. It's good guy versus bad guy. It's
Right.
heel versus face. Is that it's about stories. And the one thing I respect about him most is once he got that role as Undertaker, he lived it, and he lived it to the final years of his retirement, which was like 2 years ago, which is the crazy part of it. So,
Mhm.
like, just to break a couple things down about why he's the greatest is one, his stature. He's 6'8". Uh, that's humongous for for a wrestler. Most wrestlers are probably in between 5'8" to 6'4",
Yeah.
and 6'4", 6'5" is where you starting to get tall.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know in it for all the people that been like he's almost 7 feet tall. Nah, he ain't 7 feet tall. They that's what wrestling do. They add a couple inches, they add a couple weight, but he was legit in his heyday, 6'8", 320 pounds. And one thing about him, he didn't move like it.
No, he didn't.
Early on in his career, he thought wrestling so much to the point where like it's almost crazy. Like if you listen to some of his documentaries, like he lived to the character so much that the way he enacted himself in the ring was so different. So he wanted to be stalkish, like the host, because the whole premise behind the story of the character was old school Undertaker, but in a horror film type of character. So they wanted him to be almost like Michael Myers. That's where he also got the sit up from. So he wanted to be stalky, slow, moving methodical, but
Yeah.
like Mike Flyers pop up out of nowhere, quick flash, and that's where you see them flashes of athleticism, him walking off the rope, him ducking under the big clothesline, snake eyes, stuff like that, and stuff like that. And then, like you said, he understand it at that age, and he was. And one thing about wrestlers, just to break this down, most wrestlers started their prime years is mid 30s. So
Yep.
he didn't get that character till he was like what 29, 30.
Yep.
And so he moving through that, going through his thing, progressing, being one of the best things, living his character, one of the best promos. That's another thing you got to add on. Mic skills. He wasn't the typical 80s, 90s promo. Well, let me tell you something, brother. When you go out there, I'm gonna see you down there, Mean Gene, and we're gonna get it cracking in the Roman Coliseum. He didn't have that.
No,
So
he
he
didn't.
thought mythology is what's a good way to bring people in. I'm gonna speak in a deep voice, but I'm gonna speak slowly and calmly so they could be like, what is he saying?
You're right. Right.
He
Yeah, that's
thought
true.
that type of stuff. He thought that type of stuff. And then I can see what you're saying when he moved to the Lip Biscuit character because he it needed to happen. He couldn't
Right.
be that same character, and that's where you see him actually be able to have the mic skills where he could go toe to toe with a Rock, where he go toe to toe with a Stone Cold, and you really saw his mic skills. And then after that, to me, after Lip Biscuit is the best Undertaker because that's where he could combine everything. And once when he said himself, he didn't figure out the business to 100% till he was about 2003, 2004 or 5. And that's when he was like 41, 42 years old.
I get it. Look, Undertaker's undisputedly the best, greatest wrestler of all time. I think to not give him that is to be a hater and not to really be a true fan of.
I wouldn't even call you a hater because it's a lot of people you could give that cage to. But if you just want to, like you said, what you
Yeah.
said was perfect. If you're talking about the pedal stool of pedal stools,
Right.
he's the Godfather.
He's the GOAT. Undertaker's the
He's the
GOAT.
GOAT.
All right. Moving on to my number two. This person has reintroduced themselves to modern day culture, modern day swag, hip hop culture. There's rap
I
songs made
already know who it is.
because if you don't like it, you got to learn to love it. All the women want to be with me. All the men want to be like me. I'm every woman's dreams and every man's nightmare. In order to be the man, you have
Gotta
to
beat the man.
And there's only one sweet Ric Flair, Richard Flair. Look, Ric Flair is a rock star. That's exactly what he is. He's a rock star wrestler. He's the first rock star wrestler. And his likability was because everything you thought that wrestlers were, he played the character on and off the camera, right? If you thought he was into womanizing, Rick was doing that times 10. If you thought he was into drugs, like Rick was doing that. And I'm not glorifying. I'm just saying Rick was doing Ric Flair outside the ring. But what it did allow for is you can't challenge Ric Flair's creativity. Do you know how hard it is if we talk about monologues and we talk about famous quotes, sayings, you know, the charisma, the appeal. Ric Flair had it all, right? Rick came in, I mean, the 80s where Rick kind of blew up, but even towards the 90s and towards the end of his career, when he was older, he didn't have the body. He was coming out the nature boy, you know, bathrobes.
That was some of his best promos.
That's some of his best promos. You gotta know, because he could talk to the point you wanted to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And Ric Flair, without a shadow of a doubt, to me, there really is no modern day wrestling without Ric Flair. To the point, Ric Flair is one of those characters. If Rick could die in the ring, and I'm not speaking that negatively, like that's a way that he wouldn't be scared of. Like he loves the thing so much.
He still talking. He just had a match last year. Right. I think he wants to die in the ring.
Right. That's how much he loves wrestling. And when it comes to the love of the game, there is no other wrestler like Ric Flair.
Yeah. Like if he ain't on your list, you crazy.
Right.
People on this list, excluding him, is just you can't talk about wrestling without saying their name. You have to say Ric Flair. It's so many people that's not wrestlers if it's not Ric Flair.
That's it.
There is probably no Taker out there. There's definitely no Rock. There's definitely no Stone Cold. There's none of these dudes. It's definitely no Shawn Michaels.
There's no Shawn Michaels.
And to be honest, Rick saved. Rick was almost, even though he didn't take the blows as he should have, he almost made it acceptable for those type of characters later on to come in and they wouldn't lose a job like that because there was people like Rick there. Because one thing about it in the wrestling business, more than any other business I've known, it don't matter what you'd have done. If you're talented enough, they gonna put you on TV.
Hello.
And it's one thing about Rick, no matter what it is, that man can entertain you to this day. He will sit there and elbow drop his suit jacket.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Hey, Rick on that. He real, bro. Ric Flair. Rick, I love that you on the show. Ric Flair. Ric Flair he's one of those, he's an entertainer. And he understood that wrestling is about entertainment. You're right. And that's what it is. It's the sport of entertainment. But
he don't get it twisted. He can also give you a 40-minute match too.
Oh yeah. And a younger Rick, when he could still wrestle and take blows to the face, and you know, that was all him. All the blood and everything. That was all Rick, you know.
Like you ever seen like some wrestlers when they ran to the corner and they like flip over to the outside?
Yeah.
Rick did that.
Yeah.
Or him when he used to flip over and then flip back. Rick.
Yeah.
He was the originator of a lot of things too.
And he's the first, when he was younger, he made, like when wrestling was transitioning into kind of like bodybuilding, like you had to have a bodybuilder's physique. Rick was the first one to kind of be like, yeah, you got to look good. You know, like there's
with
like
the hair pressed.
Right. And Ric Flair was definitely his. Who's your number two?
My number two is somebody we already said, and by far one of the greatest entertainers we have ever seen. Probably you could argue one of the greatest in-ring wrestlers we have ever seen. Great character as well. You know him, he love him. We kind of love the new version of him. Everybody wasn't the biggest fan of him at one point, but he found the Lord, and I'm glad he did. And that is the one and only Heartbreak Kid, Shawn
Oh,
Michaels.
HBK. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
You thought I was gonna say
I
Mr.
thought
Karen?
right.
No,
I so thought I was like, oh,
no,
there's like Sean. I was like, okay, I'm not mad.
yeah.
Shawn Michaels was my childhood. Like Sean was cold. I wanted to be
If
like
I
Sean.
gotta describe Sean, you
You
just
didn't
don't
watch
know.
wrestling.
Somebody try to sit there and debate with me and say Sean was overrated, and I said we can no longer have this conversation.
No, he's
And
underrated.
the guy, if you're watching, I love you, my guy, but you know why I say it to your face. He a Cena fan, so I'm like,
Oh,
it's already. I already understand. I
no,
already
no,
understand.
no. Sean is Ric Flair Jr. Sean didn't go
Right.
as far with it, thank God. And he got a fight.
Eh, I mean,
I mean, not, you know what I'm saying?
he went as far. It just
Yeah,
Flair did it for 52,000 years.
right.
Like that's really what it is.
God just
Like,
keep having mercy on Ric Flair.
yeah, but the thing was with what the difference between was HBK wasn't likable at first. Like
Yeah, he was.
nobody liked him. He was a jerk. And that was
He was
really
a
what it
villain.
is. He was super arrogant. And
Yeah,
he was arrogant because he knew nobody can mess with him. But
yeah.
I also got him on this because he broke in. He was one of the main people that broke in the small guy. Because to be from
Yeah.
a man perspective, he's not a small guy. He's what 6'1", 6'2", 220 pounds. But for
Right.
a wrestler at that size, you got your Ultimate Warriors. You had at that time you had your Lex Lugers, you had your Sid
250 pounder.
Vicious,
Yeah,
right? You had your
Sid.
Sid Vicious with the who's all on roids. So but he came in
Rick
where it
Steiner.
was some more
Yeah.
slender people
Yeah.
and more and also bringing more wrestling involved into the whole entertainment aspect as well.
That's true. That's true. Look, I'm not mad. Shawn Michaels is on my list. Don't have him at number 2. But Shawn Michaels is on my list. When we get back, we'll discuss the other 8 greatest wrestlers of all time.
Flexing.
Shoulders and back workout. That's a wrap. 2 hours in. Superpower works the whole way through. Keep you going. Lock in, man. Get yours. Superpower.
Y'all, www.cbnkglobal.store. Look, I brought with me the way. I just want you to see it. Look at that. Look at the color scheme. Look at the panda. It's actually not a panda, it's a bear. Look at that black and gold. Match your Jordans with your protein. www.cbnkglobal.store. Get the whole fit right. All right, look, we are back. So, the third greatest wrestler of all time. Let me do this justice. If you smell what the Rock is cooking, if it came down to lines, promos, mic appeal, evolution of character, there's only one wrestler. And then obviously post, Hollywood business, that has transcended the sport the way he has. The only thing you can negatively say about The Rock is that The Rock didn't wrestle for 30, 40 years. We have like the big stuff, right? We have like the WrestleManias. We don't have like, 30, 40 years worth of like Ric Flair leg drops or whatever, right? Or Hogan stuff, right? He didn't wrestle in two federations. He didn't wrestle in WCW and WWE. So that's really the only knock, is that he has created a career outside of wrestling. But when it comes to the actual makeup of a wrestler, building an empire, there is only one, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, aka DJ, and that is why DJ is number 3 on my list. Cultural impact. He's known more now as an action figure, Hollywood exec, actor, owner, creator, founder of the XFL that just merged with the UFL or USFL. Now they have the UFL. Founder, co-creator of Zoa, not better than Superpower, Stephen K. Global. Just want to throw that out there. I don't mind mentioning you as a second. He is the, lead face, lead personality behind Project Rock, Under Armour, brand. He kind of has done it all, and he has more social media followers than everybody in the world, right? So he's universally liked, and if he ran for president, he'd probably win. And that's why DJ, he said, because it's hard not to like him. I mean, you talk about physique, right? He had the physique. He was 6. He's really probably about 6'3.5", so he's 6'5", right? 6'5". Oh, they say he's a real 6'5". So about 6'5", flat-footed, 260 pounds of just a God-given creation of mass. Like, his body doesn't make sense. It seems like he's aging backwards. I don't know too many 50-year-olds that look better than 20 and 30-year-olds. Like, he's that guy, right? He's the candy pie eating, guy, the way he describes it, right? The Rock has notable lines, notable moments, playing his guitar, just making fun of people, just interviews. And I feel like, I'm so sad that this generation doesn't get to experience the fullness of watching, because I remember watching SmackDown and just waiting for him to interrupt a match, waiting for him and Stone Cold to go at it. And that is why The Rock is number 3 on my list.
And that's why he lower on my list. Most of these people, these people are lower on my list because, like I said, I grew up in 2000, so I didn't really get to see the bulk of them. Even though I'm a historian, I went back and watched, but I just don't feel like it's acceptable to me to put them on higher on my list if I didn't get a nice sample size of them. Like, okay. It's like somebody my age saying Michael Jordan is my favorite player. It's like, don't make sense. Like, you can't say that.
That's true. That's true.
So like, that's all I'm saying. But he on my list as well as Ric Flair. But my number 3 is Eddie Guerrero.
He almost made my list.
Eddie Guerrero was one of the first little guys that got a chance. He was really 5'8", but he was a 5'8" pound of muscle ball. Like, that's really what he is. But Eddie was a wrestling machine. You talk to any of his co-peers, he was one of the greatest wrestlers they ever seen. He could wrestle with anybody, big or tall, or skinny or big. It didn't matter. He knew how to wrestle you. He knew how to give you this best match. He knew how to call matches. He knew how to lead matches. It's just nothing he couldn't do when it came inside that square circle. So he's one of the best in the ring for sure. And entertainment-wise, he brought the element of he was one of those wrestlers that could be a heel and face. It's not too. It was. Don't get me wrong. A lot of these people we just named have been heels and faces as well. But he was a good heel and he was a good face. The way he was a good face was a little bit different because he brought the comedic side of wrestling out. It had a lot of funny moments.
Oh, yeah. Him and Chavo,
him and Ray, I can't say his name, but him and Hill.
Christopher, who you
Oh
talking?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
I would to put him on my list too, but I just didn't want to hear it.
Don't do that.
I
Hey,
didn't
some
want to
people
hear
can't
it.
make this list.
But some people don't know how to put the artist away from the artist.
Right. I'm
But
taking a risk wearing this
but
shirt. No.
yeah, but like he had so many comedic moments, like the whole lie, cheat, you steal. We know that's where that's from.
Right.
Viva la raza. You can say Viva la raza, and everybody know what you're talking about.
Right.
Latino he made a
Latino.
whole wave for Latinos for wrestling.
Yes, he did.
He
Lucha
brought
Libre.
Lucha. He was also another person that brought Lucha Libre and made it a nice standard and a part of American wrestling as well.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. There's a difference. There's different styles of wrestling due to what country you're in. They're all different. And
Yeah.
at first, the Lucha Libre style wasn't looked at as wrestling, but he found a way to mix it, as well as he spent a lot of time as well in Japan and Canada, all over the world, doing his craft. So, hey, he it's you can't talk without him. The day he passed was one of the saddest days of my existence, but dude's that dude. Like it's too many storylines to talk about, but he was definitely that dude.
Eddie Guerrero broke down a lot of ethnic barriers and color barriers, and he made Mucho Libre I won't say respectable. He brought it to the mainstream, right?
Respected, yeah.
Right, respected. And there's no Rey Mysterio, Chavo, like everybody that has proceeded down that line is because of Eddie. I just remember Eddie coming to things and that 6'4" and just bouncing like the Eddie Guerrero, bro. Like Eddie Guerrero.
You said who was 6'4"?
Remember the car would bounce? Him and Chavo?
On the 6'4" Impala.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like Cadillac,
I thought you. Yeah, bro, that boy had everything. The 6'4" Impala used to come out with the van. Used to come out with the pickup truck. Like the music, that's another thing. Like he got iconic music as well as the others we just named. Yeah, it's just a lot of things about Eddie that he did, and everybody loved him.
Everybody loved him. Shout out to Eddie Guerrero, man. All right, now this person right here is steaming with controversy, but one might argue who isn't.
All right.
I've learned how to separate the content from the creator, the art from the artist, the policy from the politician, the preaching from the preacher. Because if we keep just trying to look for perfect people, we're going to get upset because the only one perfect is Jesus. And since you don't want him, since you always throwing him out and throwing him on our bus, his name offends you, you really don't want perfection. You want what makes you happy. So I got to say that this person influenced my childhood. Yes, I was disappointed with the racist rant, but he has apologized. He has given his life to the Lord. I saw the baptism video. I'm happy for him, and I pray that he really is changed and is changing and will do good. But there is no Rock without this individual. If there's one wrestler who took wrestling beyond the ring, who made himself as big as the brand, if not bigger, who made Hollywood see the production and see we have to tap into this talent pool, the first one to do it was Terry. Hulk Hogan, as wild as that sounds, has had many different.
It ain't even wild. It's just the truth. I hate this. It's just the truth.
It's the truth. He made me want to rip my t-shirts as a little kid. Sit there and go, I'm gonna be after church, be like, try to do it.
Had you eating your vitamins, huh?
Eating my vitamins, taking my little gummy multivitamins. Like one day, I remember when I first ripped the t-shirt. I was like 13. I was like, I did it. I was like, He made me want to do it. Hulk Hogan made me want to hit the gym for the first time. Hulk Hogan showed you that you could be a superstar. Now, I admit Hulk Hogan does not have great moves. The leg drop is pretty much it. Hulk Hogan is, but what Hulk Hogan does have
It's entertainment.
He's an entertainer. He can entertain the socks off. Because when Hogan was in the ring and you be beating Hogan, he be doing that mess and fist pumping and no hair up here and the hair on the sides going forward, right? And then try to hear the crowd. You can say what you want, but Hogan made you want to watch. And that is the goal. If you're not watchable, it doesn't matter. You can have the greatest entrance, greatest charisma, greatest lines, but if you suck, if there's nothing that draws me into you, it doesn't matter. So despite the flaws, despite the human character errors, Hulk Hogan is the number 4 greatest wrestler.
It sounds like you said Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is number 4 on my list.
Yeah, you can never take away the accomplishments of that dude. He was literally the first wrestling star,
right.
Global star there was. He was the first one. He blew it open for everybody. And and that's another thing. Like, everybody thinks you got to be the greatest wrestler to be on the greatest of all time. You don't. It's all about entertainment at the end of the day.
Right.
And if you entertain, if you make people stop what they're doing to watch the TV, hey, that's all that matters. Because some of y'all just out here just some doing gymnastics. Y'all ain't even wrestling for real. But
right.
That's another conversation. Number 4 on my list is a GOAT in a modern era.
Okay.
He's a GOAT in a modern era. He's from the old school. He was still part of the ruthless aggression era. Was one of the things, but he's a product of the old school. He is one of the most. He wasn't super line pushing outside of WWE, but he made a lot of noise. Good at crazy and bad and good in wrestling.
Yeah,
and thank God he calmed down into his later years. Experienced a career-ending injury. Had to retire early. And we thought we wasn't going to see him again. Took 8 years off and then surprised us with a return, and he's been wrestling ever since. And now we're just experiencing and taking in all of his essence that we got left. And that's the one, the only rated R superstar, Adam Copeland, Edge.
Oh, Edge? Really?
Oh my God. Did you just say really to me like that?
I mean, like, all right, I hear the explanation. Like, Edge, he was on Highlander.
So if younger Edge had the social media that we had now, he would be ridiculous. He would have probably been the first wrestler to go viral, because the rated R superstar, he got that name for a reason.
Yeah,
he was the first person we seen to have a live sex show on Raw after WrestleMania. Yeah. We know this whole story of him stealing Lita from Matt Hardy, which was a real thing that happened, that WWE actually turned into a storyline. But when it comes down to it, when he understands the business through and through. He got a character that you always said. He's got one of the best promos he's probably one of the best promo dudes there is. There's not too many people that could go at it with him on a mic. He probably has some of the most memorable moments in WWE, and that's what makes legends his moments, from him with Mick Foley, all his times with Undertaker, him tag teaming with Randy, him being with Vicky, his storyline, and how he used authority to his advantage. And then, like I said, you see him have neck problems constantly, but then he end up having double fusion neck surgery, and they told you, dog, you gonna have to hang it up. And like I said, he was going for 8 years, and then that Royal Rumble in 2019, I want to say, bro, I never forget where I was at. I was watching it, and that must said 3, 2, 1, and you heard, "You think you know me?" And when I told you, I have never heard a pop like that in so many years.
Yeah,
we legit lost our mind. Like, everybody should go back and watch that reaction because we was legit shocked. We did not think we was gonna see that man ever again in a wrestling ring because he just got it down pat. He's one of the best in ring, character wise. He's a vet now. He understands the business inside and out. He's married now to another wrestler, Beth Phoenix. Got a family, kids. Now he's just trying to soak up all up, and then now he's teaching the game to the young dude. So he's my 5.
I'm not mad. All right.
And I will say probably has the most popular and best theme song of all time.
Yeah. Edge. If social media existed when Edge was in his prime, he would be a lot further. I think Edge was,
even though he was pretty much further, he was
like
he was the one that, I'm gonna tell you a secret that, well, not a secret, it ain't a secret no more, but it's another thing you probably didn't know. He was one of the people they lobbied to take the streak from the Undertaker, and he said no.
Oh, the WrestleMania never lost in WrestleMania.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. I'm not even.
That tells you everything you need to know about him.
That's true.
If you get that, if Undertaker is willing to do that and he didn't have a problem with it, you're one of those dudes.
I'm not mad. I'm gonna use this for the clip. I'm gonna use this for the clip. Look,
I think you gonna be more shocked that people gonna be like, "What you mean? Edge is that GOAT. He's a modern GOAT, bro."
I'm gonna take it as a clip. All right, Hogan and Edge is number 5. We'll return. Number 4. My bad. 4th best wrestler of all time. Return. We're gonna go through 5 through 10 because it's time to start discussing some real wrestlers now that aren't as edgy after we return.
There's a hero in all of us waiting to be unleashed. All it takes is just that one last push. Activate the hero within with CVMK Global Supplements. All natural, steroid free, designed to enhance performance, build muscle, and increase energy. You are unstoppable. You can do this. Become your own hero at www.cvmkglobal.store.
Y'all, www.cvmkglobal.store. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. Go get it today. Use code CVMK at the discount for 20% off. Because you missed Jingle All the Way when it was 40% out. I might make a new code for you, though. www.cvmkglobal.store. Number 5, greatest wrestler of all time. This person right here made you want to drink a beer. This person right here didn't even just would walk in, no shirt, jeans, and a leather vest. This person right here, anytime you heard glass break and heard the sound that followed, right, you already knew it was going down. It was like a warning sign, and you could not out-talk the Texas Rattlesnake because he'd be like, "Oh yeah," and he was just a dog, and that's why people liked him. Stone Cold Steve Austin was a dog. That's all you could say. He just was a dog. His character was doggish. He did everything you wanted to do.
Yeah, your boss.
Yeah,
he did everything you wanted to do. He said everything you wanted to say, and everything he did, you believe he really did. And that's what's one thing. He made you believe. He made you feel some type of way, and it was a good thing. Like, he's definitely probably has the most. If I had to say out of everybody in this list who's most likely to get the loudest pop, it will probably be Stone Cold.
Yeah,
it just, I don't know what it is about him and that glass breaking, but everybody lose their mind when they hear him and it goes off. And every single remix he didn't have was cold too. That's another thing.
It's true.
But yeah, even it's so many things you mimic about him. From if you're going down the hill, you start walking like him, talking like him, and stuff like that. Like, he made you want to. He made it cool to wear jorts,
right,
and chains with leather vests and stuff. And, oh yeah, he was just everything
And
he wanted to do.
Timberland boots.
And, right, and boots and everything. And then he come out there, like I said, he's probably listed in WWE with the most biggest moments. With
Yes,
the
he
when
is.
it comes from the monster trucks
Yeah.
to him and Taker, from him being crucified, for him being in the morgue,
Yeah.
from all the stuff with all the stuff with Vince when they was in the hospital and he was beating on
Yes.
his leg, from the beer truck,
Yeah.
everything. It's too many moments. It's too many times where you hear Stone Cold. It's too many. Like I, there's a clip that pops up every year. Is that one clip at the end of, I want to say, a Raw, and he just comes down and everybody's in the ring. He got a black shirt on. He had a hat, and he just comes in like and he just whoops everybody in the dog go to the ring, and that's like he got the moments. He got it.
Stone Cold Steve Austin has the moments. I'm gonna be honest with you. If there was a yin to the Rock's yang, it was Stone.
It was literally
Stone didn't look. Steve Austin did not play, and you couldn't out talk him because if you started doing that, he would just start on you, hit
What?
you nuts, drop you, and then grab a beer.
What? Like it's too many things. Like it's too many things that happens in modern day to this day that he started.
Right.
Like people hear anytime you hear a promo going on, you hear the crowd. What?
Yep.
What? And that came from him. It's too many things he did. Like I said, he did golden moments. He probably have the most memorable moments when it comes to a superstar.
He is the golden moments. Who's your number 5?
Now my number 5 is somebody. Excuse me. It's somebody we all know and love. Somebody we all grew up on. He's is he a third generation or second generation? I forget. He one of those generation, but I want to say a second generation superstar. He's what I've been heard described, and I agree with it. If you was making a video game and you was creating a wrestler, you will make this guy, he will pop up, and that's the one and only, the Viper, the Legend Killer.
Oh,
Ranty Keith Orton.
All right. Explain.
He just got it all. There's nothing he can't do in the ring. He's smooth. Like, he can talk on the ring. He has the character. He evolved throughout his years. He's not always the same character throughout the decades. He's going to be, he's in his 40s now. And he started young. That's another thing. Like most people of his caliber, like he was like the prodigal son. He was the protege to everything. He was the guy. Like when Evolution started, he was the future. So he was what? I think he was the youngest world champion. Yeah. I think he still is. I think he won it, 22, 23 years old. Yeah. Which is, like I said, most people don't get that to the mid 30s to 40s. And he got that. Yeah, he was immature for it, and he had a lot of things he had to grow up out of. He was he wasn't the greatest person when he was younger, but he grew, he got better. But yeah, there's nothing he's not bad at. He's one of those wrestlers like when you're describing an athlete, there's nothing on that field or court he can't do. When it comes to wrestling, there's nothing he's not good at. He doesn't have a flaw.
I'm not mad. I thought you were gonna say like CM Punk. All right, so you're number 6. Yeah, that was your number 5. Your number 5 is Randy Orton. That's cool. I'm not mad at Randy being that high. It's a little, to me, is about 5 spaces.
Just to be quick, 6 and 7 are The Rock. The 7 is Stone Cold, like I said, and 8 is Ric Flair.
Okay, all right, let's do that. My 6, Booker T. Because 5 times. Booker T
is your top 10.
Randy Orton is your number 5.
Randy Orton won way more championships than Booker T.
Here's why. Booker T never had. I'm gonna get you sucker. Like,
I mean, I
I
get you. I do agree with you that he didn't get the push that he should have.
Thank you.
But I still believe. And trust me, I'm a Booker T fan, but like, I don't know. And if it's all said and done, even if he does get that push, is he better than a Randy? I don't think so. Randy has moments well as too. Randy, like people are like, you got young Randy, but you got Legend Kid and Randy. Randy and the Legend Kid are the character show his snarkiness, his arrogance, but he was a killer at the same time. But when he got to like mid 08 Randy, the man should have been in a straitjacket. The man was doing insane things. Like he was booting people and giving us concussions. He was knocking kids out. He was kissing wives. Like,
yeah, you know what, Randy. I'm not saying he's not a great wrestler. I'm not saying he didn't have a great personality. I'm not even saying he didn't have the physique. Randy had all the ingredients for a superstar, but they pushed Randy Orton. They pushed Randy. They never pushed
him from jump. Yeah, they pushed him from jump.
They never pushed Booker T. Booker T was just a good guy that kept wrestling, kept dogging. He had to go. Booker T had so many iterations. You know, Booker T ended up being, Eddie from Tekken. You know, by the end of his career, because they kept evolving Booker T's character, but Booker T kept staying consistent 5 times, man. But when you look at it. No great.
He never really had the only time he had and the reason why I give you something, he got a character when he showed us he can act and really do it when he became King Booker. And I think that's what gave him that's what a lot of people, I do agree, a lot of people underrate him.
Yeah.
But like top 10?
He's top 10, dog. He's top 10. He's top 10 for effort. And we're close to Black History Month. So who was your number 7?
My number 7 was Stone Cold.
Stone Cold. Okay. My number 7 is 6, 7. Shawn Michaels. All the reasons you lived to Shawn.
Okay.
And then my number 8 is gonna shock you. I'm gonna take a quick break and then I'm gonna give you my number 8, and we'll go through 8 through 10 after this quick break.
I literally just tried the best pre-workout on the planet. With Superpower pre-workout, you have increased focus and a power boost every single time you work out. It's not only packed with 225 milligrams of caffeine, but it also has citrulline and creatine. It's insane how much energy and focus I had during my workouts. If you're ready to take your workouts to the next level, then ditch your current pre-workout and get the Superpower pre-workout to be your own hero.
www.cvnkglobal.store. Get it today. Hey, this is where I think you're missing the mark. You are totally ignoring some great ones. Number 8. Who didn't probably make your list, deserves to be on the list. If you put Randy Orton aside, this person should be on your list. This person, I still can't tell you today what he sounds like. Well, I can because I've seen him on AEW. This person right here, still wrestling. This person right here is a legend. This person right here could go, you know exactly where I'm going. This person right here could this person right here was just as lethal, just as scary as Undertaker. Lights would go out. He would come down on a string barbed wire.
Oh,
of a cage. Right.
That's my honorable mention. I'm not mad at that.
Oh, Sting.
I'm not mad at that.
Sting is to me the 8th greatest wrestler of all time.
I'm not mad at that at all.
He had a bat. And he had face paint. That's all he needed. He was literally a terror. That wasn't a person you wanted to just wrestle.
Hey, young Sting was a mug too. Yeah. Blonde hair, surfboard, side makeup. Sting was a mug too. But the dude, the vigilante Sting, was some of the greatest moments of WCW. That was I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's my father's favorite wrestler. So I grew up on Sting, definitely. The only reason why I couldn't, he ain't making mine is one, out of my era a little bit, just slightly. when he came back, they didn't do him. They didn't do right by him just because I knew they wasn't because he's not a long time WWE guy, and they that's how they are. You ain't gonna beat me, and I've been here longer. That's how they work over there. But the only reason I couldn't put on there because yes, this character was great to some degree, but it was still kind of hollow at the same time.
Yeah, I get it. There wasn't a lot of depth to him, but he was greatness in a bottle. Okay, who's your number 8?
Ric
Flair. Okay, number 9. This person's gonna shock you. This person is not a wrestler, yet they make the list because you cannot mention wrestling. Yes, you can't mention wrestling without this person. There are no iconic Undertaker moments without this individual. There are no Hogan moments from a WWE's perspective without this individual. This person was a caricature, a clown, and yet he was funny. He was super offensive with his characters, and yet he had stage appeal. When you see him, you knew it was going to be a show. The one, the only, Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
It's my number. No, Vince McMahon. The reason is because
that ain't no shocker.
Do-Rag Vince, bro, is a character. Like, if you ever watch any of Do-Rag Vince's stuff, you'd be like, what? And they let him get away with it?
That was wild, Vince.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vince was definitely, and I would say he was a wrestler. If you got more than a couple matches under your belt, you're a wrestler, in my opinion. If you can put yourself in this stuff. And one thing about Vince, he wouldn't do something he wouldn't go out there and do himself.
Right,
and he did it. So he's by far one of the greatest heels we ever seen. He's by far one of the greatest characters we ever seen. Yeah. He had major stories with, like you said, Undertaker. His biggest stories is probably with Stone Cold. He had stories with everybody. Like he literally, like he played the perfect evil boss.
Yeah,
there ever was. So you putting this on there is not a shocker at all. Not at all.
All right, who's your number 9?
My number 9 is his son-in-law. Triple H.
I'm not mad.
And you can't, and the reason is that dude is by definition a wrestling student.
He is.
A sports entertainment student.
Hunter.
He has some. Yeah. He's probably got some of the greatest storylines there is.
Yeah.
He makes everybody great around him. He's one of the. He was everything. He was like he had so many good moments, so many long drives, and he was kind of. We all know the stories. We all know he had the golden shovel, and he's one. But you can't deny his greatness, no matter what. He has a mind like a wrestling mind like no other.
Yeah.
And it just won't be another Triple H.
No, there will be another Triple H. Look, Hunter is.
He had you out here get whoopings because you decided to go out at school and spit water outside.
Oh, you did. Hey, you had a water bottle with a. And with him and Xbox with the sucking thing, bro. You know when you got the tensions on that? Yes. That man was a bad influence, bro. We was getting in trouble imitating that stuff at school. Just all right.
I'm married.
All right.
The tension. I'm like, bro, it's from WWE.
Bro, hey, there was a time, that was a wild guy that time. Like when it was him, Road Dogg, bro. Billy Gunn, I think was a part of that crew.
Oh, you know.
Right.
You better call somebody.
Bro, they were iconically ignorant. Like that was
iconically ignorant, right. Funny, probably some of the funniest moments. They was probably the biggest comedians out there. But he got one of the most. That's another thing. He's probably next to one of the greatest tag teams of all time as well. Yeah. So you got to put him on his list.
I like it. I'm not mad. Triple H is actually my number 10. So you covered all the reasons for it. Here's my number 10, but I will give this before we sign off, my honorable mention. This person did not make the list because they are not better than the 10 names before them, though I do respect this person. I think if there was somebody who took the mantle of the face of the WWE post The Rock, really when Triple H was kind of on the downswing of his career, and even though I think they made a caricature out of him, and I understand that's why he's kind of like been more focused on the movies, he tried to take the Hogan playbook and the Rock playbook, but it's hard because I don't know. Like John Cena is a hard character to fall in love with. You know what I'm saying?
And this the thing. I know what you mean because I have the same thing, but you got to put him in the honorable mentions, and he is one of the greatest we ever seen. But he was smarter than us than we realized. He did the Hogan, and he did the Rock. But the difference is the Hogan and the Rock Stone Colds of the world. They grabbed the adults for the majority of the time.
Right.
He grabbed the kids.
Yeah.
And he held the kids to death. And he understood it, and he drove it all the way home. So that's the thing about him. But like when it comes to, like you said, when it comes to in-ring, he knows it all. He understands it all. He's not the greatest in-ring performer. Like he don't have all the moves, but he knows how to. For some reason he knows how to put on a lot of 5 stars match. He just understands in-ring psychology to a T. He's been the spokesman for wrestling for like 20 years, and no scandals, no nothing. It was perfect. He's literally Hogan. He's literally a perfect Hogan.
He's a perfect Hogan, and I think that kind of sums up John Cena's career. He's the perfect Hogan. Who's your honorable mention?
My honorable mention was 2 people. I have Rey Mysterio, and Kurt Angle.
See, Kurt almost made, but Kurt makes me mad. Like
why?
Because Kurt looks like a Oscar Mayer wiener with muscles, and that kind of throws me off. Like I don't be like that, but I'm just not.
What you mean? You don't mean it like that?
I think he's a good guy. It's just that when I look at Kurt Angle, I just be like,
You just said this man look like a hot dog, and then say I didn't mean it like that.
I mean, like he just looks like a hot dog. Like he would come in. I hated his character. That's what it was, with the American flag and little spandex.
That was really wrestler. But he was.
He was a real wrestler, but I was corny. Like his whole thing was corny.
He was corny, but he was funny corny. Like you got people that's like corny to this point it's not funny, but then you got that funny corny like like who else could have came out to you suck? Like who else could have did?
Right, you suck, all that stuff. Honestly, him and Gilbert.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like when it comes to like the comedic side of wrestling, he's a goat of it. He brought comedian to wrestling. Like he was one of the most funniest dudes at that time, and he could talk. And he was probably a top 5 wrestler in the ring wrestler of all time. And I mean WWE. I'm talking about WWE. No, like like people bring in when they start training him to be a professional wrestler. Nobody they seen like only person like they compare him to was Brock that picked it up as fast, but they said Brock didn't even pick it up as easy and as fast as Carrick did. And if you really picked it up and you understand like the nuances and the in-depth psychology of wrestling, you really understand how good he is. So like he can be on the top 10 list. I just couldn't pick. I personally could put him outside my 10th spot. All
right. If you give a second, since you gave a second honorable mention, I'm gonna mention my second. Mankind, the sock, right? Mr. Socko. Bro, that man looks like he doesn't shave or shower, but when he wrestled and then he took so much punishment, he would land on tacks and I feel like I would hate to be his body right now. Like all you would see him do is fall from the top of the cage just down.
And he was one of the first people to have like a multitude of characters as well. He had like 5 characters.
Cactus Jack. He had a lot of characters.
Do Love Mankind.
Do Love. Yep. This has been the definitive list of the top 10 greatest male wrestlers. We're going to do a greatest female wrestler soon. That list is going to be hard because,
I feel like it's going to be easier for me.
It's going to be hard because it's going to be hard.
I'm going to tell you right now. If you ain't been watching modern wrestling, you need to. Because if you don't, your list gonna be skewed.
Trish Stratus might be number 1. That's all I would say.
That ain't crazy. She might be the benchmark. She's the reason why wrestling for women right now is the best it's ever been.
Yeah, I would say Trish Stratus might be number 1. Or Stephanie there's a lot. There's a lot there.
No.
Okay. He said no.
No.
Oh, Steve-O, man, where can they connect with you?
Wait, we didn't do 10.
That was 10. Remember my 10 was, remember my 10 was Triple H. Your 10 was
I ain't give you my 10.
Who was your 10?
My 10 was Bret Hart.
Bret Hart?
Bret Hart.
Yeah.
I don't have to explain that one. If you have to think about why I put Bret Hart, do your research.
No, Bret,
yes.
with the glade, yeah, with the shade.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not mad. The
Owen was just as good, but
the Jerry girl. Yeah. I'm not mad. I mean, I'm not mad. Bret is. I'm not mad at Bret Hart.
Ain't no debate. You almost can't take him off of it.
He's in there. I mean, he's a legend. He's a legend.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that's hard. I'm gonna be honest with you. I put Goldberg above Bret Hart, but I'm not a fan of his character.
Bro, he's garbage. I don't care. I don't know why.
It was just the street. Goldberg. It was just he was spearing everybody. That was his move.
He was spearing. He was tackling people. He was actually. He didn't realize he was not at Georgia no more.
No,
that's why nobody likes him.
You're right.
Because he was out there hurting people. Because he didn't know how to wrestle.
Somebody that's been speared by Goldberg, like, bro, does that hurt? Like, because he.
Yes. Hey. He ended Brett's career.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even off of a spear. It was because he tried to do a super kick. Why is your 300-pound self trying to do a super kick? And you don't know how to wrestle.
That's Goldberg, but he had the greatest caricature
interest. He had the greatest interest. One of the greatest interests.
Right. Oh, bro, you already knew you start running to the ring. You knew somebody's about to get speared.
Goldberg.
Right.
Goldberg.
Bro, he was iconic. Steve-O, where can they connect with you, man?
Hey, follow me on X on Steve-O Spick as well as Instagram. Follow me at NBA Central as well as Bear Central, Shot Central as well.
Y'all follow him, y'all. You want to keep seeing amazing content, subscribe. Yes. Leaders content that we have on today. Subscribe, YouTube, CVMK, Instagram. It is what it is _show. CVMK _global, CVMK33, and X, Cody's _life1, but CVMK _global, where it goes down. And until next time, guys.
If you think exercise alone got me looking like this, well, think again. CVMK Global Super Thick got me right. I'm obsessed, and yeah, I won't stop talking about it because it helped me grow in all the right places. Its creatine provides a fast and reliable way to increase your power, size, and shape, and it's scientifically proven to help you reach your physical goals in a safe, controlled manner. So if you want to increase muscle size, pump, and thickness in your muscle groups, you need Super Thick.